So, Mike, that's the first home defeat this season in the league. Not quite what you're looking for, obviously. Good dominant display, I would have said, in the first half, but it didn't quite go to plan, did it, in the second half?
Um, okay, I wouldn't necessarily say, especially if you ask their manager, that we were dominant in the first half. I think very early on, we were playing against the wind, and we got Ethan Dunbar clear 3 or 4 times. Keepers made a couple of saves. They've had some last ditch tackles, and it was a way for us to be a threat. And then they were going fairly direct, and then their gaffer got them to settle down a little bit, and they kept the ball, and we kept giving it back to them, and we'd attack, and then we give them the ball back, and they beat our goal, and they get a corner, and it became a very frustrating last 15, 20 minutes of the first half because we just couldn't keep the football, and then we talk about that at half time, and I'm not really sure how much of that changed in the second half, and I think the theme of today was around these results and these games are really important. And you might look back on this result and performance in 3 or 4 months' time, thinking, crikey, we need another win. And if we'd have only been a bit better on the day against Uxbridge, we might have got something instead
Yeah.
of looking over our shoulder at other results. So, fair play to them. I think they edged it. I got no dramas with that. I can't remember their keeper making any save of any note, which was a head in hands moment, which means we didn't threaten.
Yeah.
Our set piece delivery was absolutely abysmal. We didn't have many of them, but we had enough, and we do score from one. So our only really decent delivery ends up in the back of the net. So I've got no complaints. When you win a game of football, your players take all the plaudits and you congratulate and pat them on the back. And when you lose, it is always the manager's responsibility and be accountable for it. So there are things today which we need to look at. I need to look at. Um, our players have been great up to this point. It's a poor result in performance today. Um, it shouldn't derail us. We've got a lot of games coming up. I think we've got 6 or 7 in the month of November. But ultimately, you lose a game of football. You don't blame your players ever, ever, ever blame your players. You take responsibility, and I am the one that picked the team. I am the one that created the tactics for today and our intent and our way of playing, and it's on me.
Okay. Would you pick a positive with Ethan being on the pitch from the start of the match? And I think he did really well. Got a lot of little chances, half chances, made a lot of runs, and caused a lot of trouble, basically, didn't he?
He did. I think there was 2 things. I think he deserved to play today because
Yeah.
he gets the winner last week, and he's kept his head down, and he's competed really well, and he's always been a threat when he's come on. And like Levi's played every single game, almost every minute, and I felt he needed a bit of a rest. And
Yeah.
yes, early on, Ethan was a real threat. He was a real threat right at the start of the second half, but we didn't have the ball enough
Yeah.
to be up the pitch. You can we can watch the VO back, but it'll just tell us exactly what the game we've just seen is. We weren't up the pitch long enough to get enough corners and free kicks. We were very sporadic because we kept giving them the ball back. We didn't have enough depth in our game, which meant it was very congested in the midfield, and we probably were a little bit too deep at times as well from goal kicks from them. There's a lot of things that we can look at today, but ultimately, we win a playoff final. Uxbridge win a playoff final, and they were better than us today. Now we've been other teams been better than us in other games, and we picked up results. So did I really think when it goes to 2-0 whether we could or we couldn't? There's always hope when you get a goal. And then I think the last knock-ins of that half at the end just about summed us up. We couldn't even get the ball up the pitch with any quality. We had 3 or 4 attempts at it,
Yeah.
and we kept hitting their midfield players with their centre halves on the head. And you're getting a little bit. You're getting a little bit. You're trying to get something out of a game, and you get a little bit. How can I put your thought processes aren't quite as they should be, and you just try and get it forwards. And unfortunately, we did that with a real lack of quality, and we've come unstuck. And fair play to them. I thought they're a decent side. They deserve to win, but you can't always play well. And I think we didn't play brilliantly today, but the goals are always avoidable. Every week, the goals are avoidable.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to them. We're disappointed. It's obviously quite raw straight after the game. But I've got a great group of lads. I've got roofers, I've got tilers, I've got electricians, I've got plumbers, and they totally commit to this football club. And I'll probably sit in the bar with him, have a drink, and talk about next week, and we move on.
So coming to next week, trip down to Plymouth. How do you pick the boys up for that trip? Because it's a nice long trip, isn't it?
It is, but it is what we sign up for. We
Yeah,
sign up for wins and losses and draws, and we sign up for derby games, home games, away games, trips to Plymouth. But yeah, it's we got we've got a whole week to think about what we need to do. We weren't a million miles away from us at our best. I just felt in possession we were quite poor today, and the goals. I look at the goals back. I go, what are we doing? They're really disappointing. We don't go out and block the second goal. No one comes out quick enough to block it, and it gets deflected in the goal. And from 0-0, fairly okay, we go 2-0 down within probably 5 or 10 minutes. So again, something for me to look at.
yeah. Do you think sometimes matches like this are kind of like a little nudge and a little wake up, and to say, keep focused, keep everything alert all the time?
Yeah, pretty much, Tim. I think I alluded to that fact before the game that these results right now have a huge bearing on the end of the season. And we were level with Uxbridge today. League position's irrelevant. It's the points. We think there's a number there that we need to get to, and obviously winning today pushes us nearer that, and
Yeah,
that gets Uxbridge
right.
nearer what they think they need. So take your medicine. We weren't brilliant. Scrapped a draw in other games when we probably weren't brilliant. And today we showed a lack of quality in possession, and the 2 goals are avoidable. But we've had a pretty good start. We can't keep talking about it. We've got to now get on and accumulate more points, which keeps us somewhere and nears us towards that little target we've got on our head. So, look, we are step-free football. I've been doing this for 20 odd years. I played for 20 years professionally, and you take your losses probably easier than you do when you were younger. You give your team support because they need support. You don't castigate them in an interview after a game. And if they want to have a beer, they can have a beer, and I'll sit with them in the clubhouse, and we'll have a couple of drinks, and we'll talk about the game, and we'll move on to next week. And I'll do the same with the chairman, and we talk about it. We won't talk about it for long, but we are currently right in the process now of me going in the dressing room, preparing them for next week. So I'll leave them with a smile on their face, because we weren't brilliant, we weren't disastrous, we just didn't commit enough, I don't think, really to have won that game.
Well, best of luck next week down in Plymouth. Hope you come back with 3 points.
Cheers, Tim. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike.